Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
How you doing? Okay, yeah, yourself, yeah. Sure.
Probably only seen some of you guys on Zoom, so when you do ask, it's probably worth introducing yourself if you like, because we've only seen some of you through a computer screen, unfortunately. Other than Mike, we've had the pleasure of erratic presence. Erratic being the operative word.
Who starts?
Mark's going to start for Sky, right? And followed by Olivia.
Right.
Guys, the camera's all right at the back? You all good? Excellent. Okay, Mark, with you then.
Roy, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Nice to see you in person.
Thank you, the same.
I'm sure the feeling is mutual, yeah?
Absolutely.
Roy, we'll start with the events going on in Ukraine. Clearly it's, horrific for us to see. As the manager of this football club and, in charge of a big number of staff and a number of players, how difficult have the last few days been for you just to manage not just footballers but human beings, because this is clearly taking its toll on everyone and it has a huge effect on everyone day to day just by watching the news?
It does, but I think we have to leave any action that can be taken to the Premier League. They're doing a really good job. The club, of course, itself has put out statements expressing our empathy and our sympathy with the people of Ukraine, just like everyone else is expressing that sympathy. And I believe that our fans tomorrow also have initiatives to show that they, as fans of Watford Football Club, are behind, if you like, trying to end this dreadful war and to show that we really do care for the people of Ukraine. But apart from that, as a football club, there's very little else we can do, and it's my job and the players' job, unfortunately, to get on with the work that we're expected to do, because unfortunately there's nothing else that we can do which will make a ha'porth of difference to the situation in Ukraine at the moment.
Thank you. Up next, an Arsenal side that won 7 out of their last 9 games. Clearly Mikel Arteta has got them going at the right end of the season. How big a challenge will this be for you when you look at the players at his disposal and everything that they can potentially do to Watford?
Yeah, it's a very big challenge in the same way, to be fair, that Aston Villa was and Manchester United was. But we came out on the right side of those games in terms of our performance and getting something from the game. We must take the same attitude into this game. We know perfectly well that Arsenal are a very, very strong club and a very strong team at the moment, and they happen to be a form team where everything seems to be gelling very well for them, and they're producing the sort of football that gets them results. But us talking about that doesn't change anything. We have to be prepared for whatever they throw at us, and we have to just hope that our performance on the day will enable us to come away with a similar sort of good feeling about ourselves as Aston Villa gave us and Manchester United gave us.
One of the things probably in your remit when you walked into the club was to be more structured and solid defensively. With 2 clean sheets in your last 3 games, do you feel like that is the right base that you're getting from the team that you want to try and move on, and what better way to test that defensive structure than against a side like Arsenal?
Yeah, Man United was quite a test as well, and Aston Villa too, and Palace, of course, was a test. Unfortunately, you need both sides of your game to come together. If you're going to win matches, you've got to certainly try to provide the players with a solid base that they can sort of, if you like, use in order to launch more attacking platforms. If you really are unstructured, or you really are leaving lots and lots of spaces for the opposition, then of course the quality of the teams we're playing, they will find those spaces and they will score goals. So it's always a part of any club's remit, I think, and the further you go down the league, the more important it may become to have that solid defensive structure that people think they can rely on, so that they're not going to leak goals, and the opposing team have to work very hard for the goals they get. But then of course you also need the players to find the composure and the quality that we think they have to produce the goal chances and score them. So it's we can't stay in the league by playing 0-0. We're fully aware of that. We can only stay in the league by winning matches, and to win matches we need to stop goals going in at one end and score them at the other. Now, that is the nature of the job, that's the nature of the business, everyone understands it here, and the challenges don't get any easier, because after Arsenal we've got to go to Wolves and they're doing pretty well, and then we've got to go to Southampton and they're doing well. So there's no point really even thinking along those lines. We just have to think about how can we match Arsenal, how can we cause them problems, how can we deny them the chances they're going to want to create, and then hope that if there's any luck going on the day, it goes to us and not to them.
I don't like to be too negative. You've lost your last 7 games at home in the Premier League and have the worst home defensive record, having conceded 31 goals. Clearly, home form is going to be key. How do you address that if you're going to survive in the Premier League?
Well, there shouldn't be a difference, should there? I mean, basically speaking, the sort of performances we're trying to give are the performances which are geared to whether we're playing at home or away. So it's not as if we suddenly switch on to a different mindset and a different way of playing just because this game happens to be at home and the previous one was away. The way we want to play, the things we want to do, and the principles we want to adhere to, they exist, and they're the ones we work on. And of course you make all the minor adjustments regarding the opposition and the extra problems that might cause you. You do that as well. But there shouldn't really be any need for us to suddenly start trying to suggest that there is something mystical about the fact that we can't win at home but we can do okay away from home. It's could be lots of reasons. I'm certain people will have put forward lots and lots of reasons and lots of ideas and lots of theories, but the bottom line is we have a very good pitch. The dimensions of the pitch are a little bit smaller, but not much, than Man United and Aston Villa. We have a home crowd trying to support us and do their best to cheer us on. There's absolutely no reason why we can't give that group of supporters what they hope for and dream of, i.e. victory, and of course what we definitely work for and dream of, victory. So let's see, but I mean, statistics are there, you can't change them. It's happened. The thing is, we have lost all those home games. We have got a poor record at home. We haven't won games at home. But the fact is, there's no point in me dwelling on that aspect, one. And two, I don't have a particular reason. I've only had 2 home games of those 7 that we've lost. And on both occasions, I must say, we haven't played as well in those 2 games at home as we've played away. So, maybe we need to get the witch doctor in.
And finally, from me, how much are you enjoying being back on the training pitch, being back in the dressing room, being back in this environment and challenging yourself with all of your years of experience in the game? How much are you still loving the day-to-day work? And if you could keep this club in the Premier League, would it go down as your greatest achievement?
I don't know about ranking achievements. I didn't come here to rank achievements or to try to add to achievements, I must be perfectly honest. But I would be really delighted if the work that Ray and I are doing here could lead to the club staying in the division, because I think it's a good club and I think there's good players here and I think they are working in the right way. So as to the first part of your question, I'm enjoying it very much. I thought I would. I was quite excited about the offer I got from Gino to come back in, and I thought, you're going to enjoy this, and I have. But of course it's going to get less enjoyable unless we get some results, because unfortunately it's results that really keep the mood high, that keep the spirits high, that keeps everyone with a smile on their face. It's very hard to maintain that good feeling about yourself, about the club, about the players, for the players to feel it about themselves all the time. You're losing games all the time, so we badly need to break the cycle that we've found ourselves in, where we need points, and what we need basically is what the 1 or 2 teams around us have found, a period where they've played 3 games and taken a lot more points than everyone's thought they were going to take, and it's lifted them that little bit higher up the table.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Olivia.
Hi, Roy.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. Just sort of on that as well, I'm just wondering, is there anything that you've noticed, or has anything surprised you since coming in to this club and working with this group of players, maybe that you weren't expecting?
Yes, I think so. I think their attitude, which has been excellent, their desire to do what we, with regard to our principles of course, think are the right things and the type of things that could help us get a bit more success. Their work ethic, the amount of effort they're putting into every game, the running statistics are very good, which is not normal when you're near the bottom of the table. You're often playing teams that outrun you quite comfortably, especially in terms of the high speed running and the sprint distances, which are important factors, but we're right up there with that as well. And it's actually been, as I said to Mark, it's been actually a pleasure to come in every day and work with them. I've really enjoyed it. I'd enjoy it a lot more if we start winning, of course, but then I don't think there's too many people in my position near the bottom of the table who wouldn't tell you the same thing. I share, I'm sure, the same feeling about it all as do the other guys near the bottom of the table who've got the spectre of relegation looming over them.
And just on the game, how is your squad looking ahead of this one?
Well, we've got a very big squad. I mean, they've done a remarkable job here, apart from the people, you know, on the field, the ones we've been talking about, the players, all the people, the support staff have been quite incredible, in particular the medical room, because today, you know, we had 4 goalkeepers and 23 outfield players available for training. Now, I've got to be honest with you, looking back over my Premier League career, I can't remember many clubs where that many players have been out playing, training, and all really asking to be selected to play. But however, we do have 2 injuries to senior players. Ismail Assar is injured and Will Ikong is injured. And Nkulu is still at the latter end of his recovery after a very long injury which has kept him out for a long time, but even he is actually at the latter end now and could be declared 100% fit to play for us again soon.
Perfect. I know you've mentioned sort of the difference in home form and away form.
I didn't mention, I answered the question, didn't I?
Spoke about it. I just want to, is it those inconsistencies that you've got to try and eradicate? That performance at home against Crystal Palace compared to the performance away at Old Trafford in such a short space of time, it was so different.
But it wasn't, you see, that's the point. I'm afraid I'll have to disagree with you. It wasn't that different.
Things just didn't go away on the day?
We at 2-1 at half time in the second half against Crystal Palace, you know, I think Palace would have been quite happy to call it an even game, and I think they'd have been quite happy not to concede the equaliser, because we were actually playing well enough at that stage to perhaps get one. What changed the complexion of that game and everyone's thoughts about the game is they scored 2 goals in the last 5 or 6 minutes, and as a result you lose 4-1, and that, unfortunately, as is always the case in football, it's judged from the result backwards. Had we played 2-2 in that game, which was, you know, more than possible, I'm not saying we were better than Palace, but we certainly weren't worse than them on the night, people would have said it was okay. But you lose 4-1 and suddenly that was a disaster. But 0-0 against Man United, that's a wonder result. It wasn't. Man United wasn't a wonder result and Palace wasn't a disaster result. And in actual fact, if I judge what we actually did on the field of play in both games, the gap wasn't as big as you are suggesting it was. So I don't know that I would complain that much at present of inconsistency. I would complain more that we've got to be better. And then we've got to keep working to get better, do things better in every aspect of our play. Because I don't think it's a consistency. A lack of consistency comes when players don't show the same concentration levels, don't have the same focus, don't continue to run as hard, don't do their best. That's when the inconsistency starts to set in. We haven't got that yet. We're getting that, but we're getting various levels perhaps of performance during the 6 games, but it's depending upon, you know, the technical level and the technical performances of the players on the day.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I don't think there's any other broadcast questions, right? So that's the end of the broadcast section in that case. Okay.